Hello and welcome to a quarterly regulatory update from us at NGFT. We're glad that you're on board and we're happy that you would like to know more about what's coming your way with regards to EASA regulation. Today, we have a different format. As you can see, we have a live stream, and so it's no longer possible for you to interact with me directly and ask questions, but please use the chat so you're able to get back to me with any questions you may have. We have a slower quarter. There's not that many publications from EASA that are relevant to us. However, I still would like to point out a few things and give you an outlook on what's going to happen in the next couple months. So we will cover airworthiness, air ops, air crew, SARA, UAS, and I'd like to just to highlight a few things about Brexit because it might also affect your operation. Now, with regards to the availability of the rules, there has been quite a number of changes from EASA, I think, to the better. First of all, they have been publishing very hard on the easy access rules. So you will find quite a number of easy access rules now available that contain the implementing rules, the AMCs, and the guidance material in one document. And then, in addition, they also have an all-new electronic version available online as well. So you're able to go online to search any kind of laws that you need. I believe that is really a big step forward for all of us. And it will make it easier for us to get this, to get information on that. Well, recently some easy access rules have been published, like continuing airworthiness. I'll just get to that in a minute. Air traffic management, and then there's acceptable means of compliance for airworthiness of product, part, and appliances. So have a look which ones are applicable to you, and get the latest version of the easy access rules on your desktop. Let's get started with continuing airworthiness. Last time, before Christmas, there was nothing new published for quite a while. They have updated the easy access rules because they have published new laws on December 17th with regards to the airworthiness, and they also have published an AMC with that, an ED decision. This is not really applicable to smaller operators. The regulation that was incorporated into the easy access rules, we already covered that in the Q3 quarterly. And so now the ED decision, basically, that covers additional details for structural inspection programs for large aircraft. So typically it will not be applicable for us. We are still in the transition phase, so it is important that you're still working on your COMA. If you have not been able to submit that, remember that within about 6 months, the new regulation will be in effect and you have to implement a new COMA. There are quite a number of COMAs available. Also, NGFT, we offer one. So please get in touch with us if we can support you with that. Also have a look at the anybody's COMA that authorities are publishing. They do, there are quite a number of versions available and you can select the ones that is most suitable for you. The latest amendment has also included the management system. So I think this is something that you will be looking at for some time because you will have to define the processes for the safety management system and compliance monitoring in your COMA. If you're able to take that over from the air operations, that's great. I think that would be the best way to go. So you have a standardized management system across the whole organization. The task of getting an ALTMOC for limited certifying staff is still ongoing. We have submitted the first version and received a first feedback from the authorities. They do still consider a private pilot to be a minor pilot, meaning they have increased requirements And so we'll have to work on that to submit to them a second version, but we are positive and confident that we will be able to get an altmock so that private pilots may also do daily checks and AD tasks as part in a function of a limited certifying staff, and that would greatly alleviate the burdens on the flight schools and private operators. In the area of air ops, we have also new laws published. They concern evidence-based training and competence-based training. That is an entirely new concept. The idea is that when you use scenario-based training in simulators, you're able to use the readouts from the simulator to establish baseline parameters. And with the scenarios, you have expected outcomes for your crew. And that will allow you to evaluate a crew on their interaction, on their reaction time, on best practices. The idea is to allow for evidence-based training so you can actually reduce the efforts in ORO from ORO FC 230. So training and checking will be significantly reduced, but it is an integrated program. For now, it's only applicable to airplane operations and those aircraft that have large simulators available that are able to have these sophisticated data readouts and are able to follow up on these programs. That was the revision. It is included in the Commission implementing regulation for the implementing rule level, and there have been 3 AMCs and guidance material. One regarding the definition, they have been expanded. RO for the authorities, how to evaluate and approve these programs, and then, of course, ORO for the operators. The same change, evidence-based training, is also the major driver in FCL regulation. There we do have, first of all, more details on what kind of instructors are allowed to teach evidence-based training, and also how this will be incorporated into licensing. One idea is to allow licensing type ratings and proficiency checks to be done within an EBT framework. And of course, the regulatory structure had to be changed in order to allow that. So again, airplane only and also larger aircraft. The amount of work is quite significant to get such a program approved. However, if you have a certain size of company, it will make sense because it will reduce your overall training rate, and it will also increase the quality of training, which is basically a good thing. Now, moving on, we look at SERA, which is the Standardized European Rules of the Air. Basically, yes, there has been an amendment, but it only says that it has been postponed, the implementation, so nothing big. I still wanted to point it out that this has been changed. One thing that is something of interest, I believe, for this group is occurrence reporting. There have been no regulatory changes to the occurrence reporting per se. So Regulation 376 2014 and 2015-1018 are still valid and applicable for occurrence reporting. However, now with the AMC 20-8 coming out and updated, that part is also applicable for occurrence reporting, and oftentimes this is not known. Most of the time we only refer to the 2 regulations on top, but actually with the new publication AMC 20-8 is also applicable. It is quite overlapping, but I think it's important that you're aware of this kind of requirement and that you're able to review if you have to report that you're reporting it correctly and you don't miss anything. Also, there has been easy access rules published for occurrence reporting. That also includes guidance material, and so you would have everything in one place. Attention, the AMC 20-8 is not included. It is a separate document, also available as easy access rules under as AMC 20. Now, in that respect, we also have a new change with regards to occurrence reporting risk classification scheme. That has been published last year and entered into force on the 1st of January 2021. What is happening here? Well, we used to know the ICAO framework for risk assessment, and we have used that also mostly to provide risk management as part of our safety management system. I think it's important to understand that the European scheme is based on these dimensions like severity and likelihood of an event occurring. However, I think the gradient is different. In the preamble to the implementing rule, it says that it is to facilitate cooperation between EASA and the member state to unify the safety process across all participants. Now, I have been asking, the authorities as to if this will be also applicable to the operators. So far I have not received any input yet, and I think we'll have to wait until we get an answer on that. I think as soon as I know the answer, I will inform you on the update, and I will tell you what exactly is happening and if there are any kind of actions for us to do. So you can see on the right-hand side, this is what the new classification scheme will look like. You can see the two dimensions, severity and likelihood, but giving it, having it a more granular level, you will have much more fields to consider and to deal with. So this is just an outlook on something that is happening in the risk classification scheme. We don't know yet if exactly how and how deep it will affect us. Moving on to drones and unmanned aircraft systems, there has been drone regulation going on, and there is a regulation applicable as of the 31st of December. They have published new easy access rules in January 2021, and all the current AMCs are included. So far, they have published another AMCs, so they have updated the AMCs that have been published last August, and they are actually quite extensive. It means that the SORA process for the risk analysis is amended, so it also allows now that you are able to get approvals for test flights of unmanned aircraft from your authorities without actually to comply with all the safety risks measures in place. So it's quite extensive, and it's close to 70 pages, and it details what has to be done in this respect. The last part that I would like to talk about is Brexit and EASA. In this respect, as you know, the UK has left EASA, and so as of January 1st, 2021, the UK is now a third country, and that has significant consequences because quite a number of agreements or expectations on the collaboration between these two countries are no longer valid. This means, for example, that the licensing for mechanics part 66 are no longer accepted. It means that if a license or a typewriting has been issued by a UK authority, it will no longer be recognized in the EU. Now, I think this is something that we have not really looked at in detail. However, I think it would be important to check whether any kind of licenses are affected. This the same is valid for doing on-the-job training. And finally, it's important that you, in case you find anything with regards to mechanics, that you double check your possibilities, and also check if any sign-offs have been performed since January 1st, 2021 by that person, so that it, make sure that it's the mechanics work is not invalidated. The effect on licensing is the same. So if you have ever done a license in the UK, that is no longer accepted in Europe. So you will have to apply for an EASA license. There was a time before December 31st, 2020, where you were able to transition these licenses. No more. So now it's basically the same as an FAA license, even though the content of the training might be the same. Also, if you have people and you send them to do a school, visit a school in the UK, these schools are most likely no longer accepted under EASA rules. So the courses and the certificates will not be accepted in EASA countries. Again, please double check and please be aware of the cooperations you may have with these schools like Bristol and so on, Bristol ground schools, that most likely will require additional paperwork. The operations is also quite significant, so you do have an effect on operations because the UK is effectively a third country. It's no longer possible for any European operators to perform CAT operation inside the UK and vice versa. Also make sure that if you are flying an aircraft to the UK and away from the UK, that you are aware of any restrictions that may apply, like permit to fly for any maintenance operations and so on. So I think this is something that has been a bit under the radar, but it's quite significant if we look at the term of safety. Good. This has been my overview for today. It's been a shorter overview than normally. I think this is not something that we should be really sad about. So I'm open to any questions you may have. So if you have questions, please write that in the chat so I may answer your questions. Good. It seems to be there are no questions so far. In that case, thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, please also contact us directly, support@ngft.com. And I'm looking forward to see you in between. Hopefully we'll stay in touch, and I'll see you at the next quarterly regulatory update in 2 or 3 months. All right. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.